Hello there folks, and thanks for joining me at my tying bench once again. As we know, it's terrestrial time out there, and I just decided to tie up a few ants, excuse me, to add to my box. I was getting down on my black ants, so I thought I'd bring you along on this one. And I simply call this one the UV crystal ant. I just used some super fine black dubbing for the abdomen and head. And I have some UV pearl crystal flash for the little wing there. And if you don't have UV, it doesn't matter. You can just use regular crystal flash and 2 or 3 turns or so of dry fly saddle hackle. And I'm tying this guy on a size 14. I generally tie him 14 down to an 18. And of course I chose the 14 for you guys for the video. So we'll get this little guy device here, fresh hook in, and we'll get started. Okay, and for a hook, for this particular fly, you can use whatever size 14 dry fly hook you wish. This just happens to be a standard dry fly barbless size 14. I'll get that locked in the vise there. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, and for thread I'm using some Danville 6/0 Fly Master there. And I'm just going to start a thread base right behind the eye this time. And we're going to work back to about the bend of the hook or so. Right around where the barb would be if this hook had a barb on it. Snip off our tag end here. Alrighty. Now for the dubbing, like I mentioned, I'm using some super fine black. And this stuff dubs really well on the thread. You don't need wax for this dubbing. So I'm going to start out by just forming a nice skinny noodle here. And it's always better to add dubbing, as you know, than try to take it off your thread. So if you have to use 2 or 3 noodles to do it, I don't fret about it. And that's the case for any dry fly which you use dubbing. So we're going to start forming our abdomen here. And you usually don't want it to come back any farther than the bend of the hook there. And naturally you want the abdomen a little bit longer than the head. And I like to have it quite robust. So I'll add quite a bit of dubbing to it here. So I want a tad bit more. So it's a pretty simple one to tie. I mean, there's a lot of ant patterns out there, but I just thought I'd share with you how I put mine together. And I also tie this in a cinnamon color as well. And I've tied it in a darkish brown color. Whoops, there. Fix that noodle, there we go. Alright, so that looks pretty good for the abdomen. So I'm just going to make a little thread base here in front of it. That looks pretty good, folks. Okay. Alrighty, so next I'm going to add the wing. And I have 3 strands of like I mentioned, UV pearl crystal flash, but if you don't have UV, don't fret. Just use what you have. It will do the trick. So I'm just going to make a couple of threads here, pinch that on top of the thread, or pinch loop rather, and then I'm going to fold it back. So we end up with 6 strands for our wing. Catch that in on top there, just like so. And I'm going to trim that to just past the hook of the ways there. You don't want too long a wing on them, just like so. Alrighty, so next is the hackle, and I have some dry fly saddle hackle here in black, and I've already tied a couple out of this here, so I still got enough on here to do one more, so I'm going to use that up. Waste not, want not, that's what I figure. In fly tying, you might as well get all you can get out of your materials, that's for sure, because we all know that. Okay, now I'll snip that little end off there. Okay, now I'm just going to come around, usually 2 to 3 wraps. I would say most of the time I use 3, and this is a little short now, so I'm just going to grab that with my hackle pliers. Excuse me, folks. That way it doesn't slip out of my fingers is all. Okay, we'll get our 2 or 3 wraps on there, and occasionally I'll get 4 wraps. As we know, the fish don't count the wraps, so the fish aren't worried about it, I'm not worried about it. So we'll catch it in with 2 or 3 nice snug wraps there. And I'm going to come in and snip that out. Real careful like here. Okay, and we'll catch the rest of that down, bind it down good. Alrighty, so there's our abdomen, our crystal flash wing, and our hackle there to represent a few legs. Now we're just going to finish off the head, and I just like to have a nice smaller round head for my ants. So we'll get some more superfine dubbing here and form a nice skinny noodle once again. If you lay out the materials and you're not doing a video, it doesn't take long to tie a bunch of these little guys up. I just like to prep. I find if you prep your materials ahead of time, things go a lot faster and smoother. Okay, we just want a little round head on them here. Alrighty, that should be fine. And there's the ant. Pretty quick and simple. And like I was saying, you can tighten different colors as well. The regular ant colors, of course. So we're just going to make a little 4 or 5 turn whip finish here. I'll do a couple just for good measure here. Okay, snug it down tight. Nice and snug. I'll come in and snip that off there. I got a little cutter on the end of my whip finisher. Okay. So that's all there is to that little UV crystal ant, folks. It's quite a quick video, quick tie, but I wanted to share that with you. So if you want to tie some ants for your box, this would be a good choice, I'd say. Not that hard to put together, and it's an effective little fly. And what I do, instead of using my solar res on these guys, I just take a little bit of my head cement here and put a little drop on those thread wraps there. That's all I do to this particular one. Alright, there we go. Done deal. Does not take long at all. So, like I was saying, if you had materials, definitely give this ant pattern a go. And if you don't have the exact materials, like I mentioned, the UV crystal flash, just use regular pearl crystal flash. And you can change the wing up too if you want. Experiment. That's the fun of fly tying. You can tie something up, take it to the river, and it can be really successful for you. So that's the whole thing. Fly tying has to be fun. Or what's the point, right? So anyway, folks, if you haven't seen my videos before and you'd like to see more, like I say in all my videos, hit that good old subscribe button if you wish, and throw a like in. And any comments, you put them down below. Appreciate that. So, until next time, folks, like I always say out there, happy tying. I hope to see you all again next time. And so long for now, folks.